guys, special video for you this afternoon. I guess you could consider it a bonus video of sorts, if you will. I was browsing through Facebook this afternoon and I came across a news article that really annoyed me and got on my nerves, so I thought I'd do a video on that because it's relevant to some workplace issues. Basically, as you can see here in the graphic displayed on screen, is that there was a guy who was working at a job and he was a really crappy employee. He was spending a lot of time on his phone, so his employer, having enough of it, decided she was going to dock him for his hours that he spent each week on the phone from his pay. Now, quite a lot of people online thought that she was in the right because he's not working, he's not earning money, he's not doing his job, so he doesn't deserve to be paid for those hours, right? Be that as that may, this guy may be, I'm not denying the fact that he's probably a crappy employee, he has bad work ethic, he obviously has some addiction problems with his phone and stuff, and warnings being spoken to hasn't really helped or solved the issue. But, docking someone's pay is something you definitely cannot do under the law. It is illegal. It is considered wage theft. And that is stipulated under both the award for your industry, whatever job you have, and the Fair Work Act, the Fair Work Act that helps determine all, workplace conditions, rights, and responsibilities of employees and employers. And yes, an employer docking someone's wages for any reason is definitely one of them. You cannot do that. That is illegal. It is stipulated under the awards, that if someone shows up for work, they work the shift that they're supposed to, you are supposed to pay them for the proper award rate for all the time they are there at work, regardless of what they're doing, regardless of how good or an employee they are or how bad an employee they are. That's irrelevant, and that's what the award is. That's what the award stipulates. Anything outside of that is, a disciplinary issue or an issue to be resolved within the workplace. So this woman is delusional. She thinks she has a case against this guy, that she has any legal right or legal grounds to dock him of his pay. Because despite the fact he wasn't working, he was there, he showed up to work and stuff. The Fair Work Ombudsman is not going to give a shit whether or not he was a good or bad employee. Because I've dealt with this issue myself. Last year, I had this issue at a job where they were basically paying me significantly lower than the award wage, and they had me a load of overtime and stuff as well. They didn't pay me. So I found out about all this through that situation, was where my employer, he actually told me that, he insinuated to me that he had some sort of evidence against me about me either being a bad employee or doing something wrong at work, and how, the ombudsman, that because I'd put in the complaint, was going to side with him. It was a really weak, lame-ass attempt to scam me, but even I thought then, that doesn't sound right to me, I've been a good employee and stuff, and whether or not someone is good or bad employee should not matter, to how much they get paid. What you get paid, what's stipulated by your award is what you get supposed to legally get paid. So, I thought, he was obviously full of it, so I went and asked the ombudsman about this when I rang up, I spoke to them over the phone and stuff, and they basically pretty much confirmed, what I had suspected. So that's why I know that this is the case, and this woman doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. Despite the fact she said, that she's willing to, she's not going to budge, she's not going to pay him the money that, that she has to pay him, and she's willing to get the lawyers and stuff involved in it if she has to. Fair enough, she can do that, but I know myself that she's going to fail, and the ombudsman is going to tell her exactly what I just said. It doesn't matter, you have to pay people anyway. The awards exist and it's to be adhered to for a reason, This legislation exists to protect employers and employees. It's mutual benefit both sides. But definitely in this case, for example, in my case, many others, is that it's one of the main reasons there is to protect employees, because they're the people that aren't in positions of power. They're vulnerable. They depend upon work and their work income for their, for their way of life, for their income, so they can survive. And this is their very simple reason, to basically make sure employees are paid fair and honest wages for their work and their time when they're there. So they can't be taken advantage of and exploited by employers. And that the award wage isn't negotiable. You can't go into a workplace and have them say we want you to sign this and this for these conditions. Hey, will you accept this, this, and that? It's not on the award, it's just something we've made up. Is that fine? You can do that all you want. They can agree to that all they want. But legally, it does not matter. They do not care what start employees are agreed to on that. That's the award. That's what's in the award wage. That's supported by the Fair Work Act, which is, law. And that exists for the very reason of, you know, avoiding like stuff like coercion and things like that. You know, so staff can't be coerced into agreeing to terms which aren't very favourable to them. And one of the things about this case was it actually really surprised me how many people actually agreed with the employer. And it's like, this would set a really bad precedent if we allow employers to dictate the terms of employees' wages based upon, you know, their perceived performance or whether or not it's good or whether or not they're doing their job to the employer's satisfaction. Part of the reason why, you know, awards exist to protect staff and stuff. Because if we gave employers the power to dock people's pays for various reasons because they don't think they're doing a good enough job, then that's just open and rife for exploitation. You know, many businesses will take advantage of that straight away and use that for whatever reason they can come up with, but real or not, to dock people's pay as much as they can, to pay them as less as they can, because, hey, they're a business, they want to make money, and if history has taught us anything, it's that with capitalism, they don't give a fuck about workers, they don't give a fuck about workers' rights, they'll exploit them every step of the way as much as they can, and the only reason why they can't do whatever they want now is because people fought long and hard to get the workers' rights that we have today, such as, you know, overtime, sick pay, penalty rates, weekends, 38-hour work week, injury compensation, you know, things like that, all those sort of things that, you know, many of us don't really think about too much and kind of take for granted. Look, I can sympathise with the employer's position. Nobody wants to deal with crappy employees that have poor work ethics, that are lazy, spend more time on the phone, on their phone they do working, and just not being productive, not doing things they could or should be doing. You know, I've worked with plenty of co-workers who are crappy co-workers who are lazy, and I had to pick up the slack for them, you know. That was bad enough, so I know where she's coming from. And I understand that she's trying to motivate that guy to get back to work and do his job, but that's not the way to do it. There are proper, you know, channels to get people motivated to work and ways of punishing them that you can do without, you know, docking their pay, which are legal. The article said he's a casual, which can threaten to cut his shifts if he doesn't do his job properly. If he keeps doing it, take one of these shifts off him. She can give him verbal warnings, written warnings, a final written warning. Dismissal is a thing you can do. These are all ways that are perfectly fair and legal to punish employees for bad behaviour and to encourage them to do, you know, do their job what they're supposed to be doing. They exist for this very reason. So yeah, her rationale of to dock his pay is absolutely absurd and insane. And another important piece I feel like I should touch upon with this video is the subject of, you know, wage theft. You know, wage theft is something that's pretty serious. It affects people and their livelihoods in some pretty serious ways. You've got employers, people in positions of power, basically abusing and exploiting staff so they can make more money, and oftentimes really hurting some of their staff as a result. So why this is is important to me particularly is it's kind of a bit of the hypocrisy of capitalism sort of thing, where if I walked, you know, cafe I worked at, they underpaid me to the tune of about $3,000. If I walked into that cafe, took $3,000 out of their till and walked off with it, then got caught, I'd go to jail. But you know what? They can do that, and that's okay. They don't go to jail. It's a crime and it's illegal, but they have to pay me back the money, but they don't get any trouble for it. What kind of society do we live in where that's the standard, that's the way of things? What kind of bullshit is that? You know, it's only been recently in Australia where states have begun to make wage theft a crime that you can go to jail for. I think Victoria just made it a thing you can go to jail for just last year or the year before. This is what, in 2021, they finally make it something you can go to jail for stealing money from people that depend upon you, and you're exploiting them when you're in a position of power. Doesn't that indicate a certain degree of maliciousness and abuse of power? Which is something that the law is supposed to take seriously. We're told they take it seriously, but it doesn't really seem like they do they? For them to take that long to make it, something to go to jail for. Just something to think about the society we live in and how some people view the working people. So yeah, this is just something that I saw this afternoon which kind of ticked me off a bit, so I thought I'd do a bit of a video about it and have a little bit of a rant. So yeah, that's it. I'll be back in a couple of days with another brand new video for you. That one will be based about fascism itself and, why we should be opposed to fascism. So it's linking up to my previous video, so look out for that one. Thanks, have a great day, see you later.